According to Black Enterprise, Bianca Robinson, a substitute teacher at District Heights Elementary School in Maryland, has just been suspended for sending out controversial tweets criticizing parents for their parenting at home. On Thursday, Robinson would tweet, "Black women raising boys, please stop letting your boys pick up your female traits. I have the itchiest boys in my class. I know y'all have some men around somewhere. This is getting ridiculous." The tweet resulted in outrage from parents and other social media users who said Robinson has no business teaching in a classroom. Screenshots were taken from her social media, which showcased even more concerning tweets from the teacher. Today we have our company hype analysts Capone and Pierre calling in to give their thoughts and reactions. But before we get into today's topic, don't forget early voting has started. Voting is not the only answer, but it's a powerful tool we have for change. So don't waste it. If you're in Georgia and need a ride to the polls, call the People's Agenda at 877-524-8683.
So those on social media identified this teacher as Bianca Robinson. Now, when we asked the Prince George's County Public School spokesperson about her, we were told she is a substitute.
Honestly, with a lot of the way teachers are, a lot of them do teach like they just don't say it.
She could have said, like, put them in meal mentoring programs, things like that. But for her to just come off and say something like that, it's just atrocious.
As a Black mother of 5 Black sons, this is a very important issue to me.
Online, a number of comments were defending Robinson, some essentially arguing she's a victim of cancel culture. Those upset with the substitute also flagged other questionable posts.
Now, I want to dive right into reactions, Pierre. I'm going to start with you. What's your reaction to the story?
I applaud her, and put it in the comments. Now, maybe she said it wrong, but I understand the feeling because, first of all, I grew up in Prince George's County. That's my county. People don't realize also it's the #1 income county in the United States. Look it up, Prince George's County. Bianca Robinson is fed up, okay? I have folks who I grew up in the area, got property in District Heights. I know exactly where the school is. I know how District Heights is. I've worked with the mayor. I'm from, like I said, people who know PG County. I'm right from Seat Pleasant to Forestville. It's right in the same area. PG had to put a curfew for young kids recently. Had to put a curfew that young kids couldn't be out past 10 or 11 o'clock, whatever it was, on the weekend or weekday. It's getting out of hand. Now, she's right. Women aren't built to raise boys. They're not. Okay, you in the comment, I got a baby, that boy, I raised him well. That's you. But normally, women aren't built to raise. So men are more responsible for taking care of these boys, make sure. I don't know where these men are. We need to focus on the men not being in the household or being responsible or being around their boys, their sons, because a woman cannot really raise a boy correctly. Not normally. I know in the comments, you got your child, your boy, your son, he raised you correctly. I got it, whatever, you're lucky. But normally it's not like that. But it's really getting out of hand with these young kids. In the Prince George's area or the District Heights area, you hear shootings all the time. It's rough. Even though it's the #1 county, for Black people making income, it's rough. And I'm glad this woman spoke up. Maybe she didn't speak up correctly. I get that part. But I'm glad, I understand her feelings. She's tired. People are tired of this. They're tired of these unruly kids. So.
Right. Capone, let me bring you in this. What are your thoughts when you heard this story surface?
I feel the same way Pierre feels, but I just think that even as an educator, she should have expressed herself a lot better without all of the anger. And I can understand her frustration, but there's a way to say certain things without it being said the way she said it. So yeah, the kids they definitely unruly right now, and they do need to be, some need to be chastised in a certain way, you know. But as an adult, I don't think that she handled it right with the way she said it.
So Capone, as I mentioned, they did decide to remove this teacher from the, from the school and from the staff. So I want to ask you, do you agree with that decision to say, hey, because of these tweets, because of what we've seen, we are going to remove you? Capone, I'll start with you.
I can say that I agree upon her action and their actions, because I wouldn't want my child around no angry teacher like that. That seems like she can't even control her words. She didn't find the right dialogue to put out there, and if you can't behave like an adult and you talking about how these children behavior is, yeah, I think they did the right decision by removing her.
Pierre, let me bring you in. I know you said, you're kind of rallying behind her just a little bit. She didn't necessarily say it the right way, but there are some, some things that she did say that has some truth in it. So I want to get your thoughts. Do you agree with the school's decision to remove Miss Robinson?
Yeah, I agree with Capone. Like I said earlier, yeah, I mean, she verbalized it incorrectly. But let's go down to the core of it, the inside of it. She's tired. She probably, this is a woman that loves black people. She's just frustrated. And this is just the way her frustration came out. Every time frustration doesn't come out perfectly. We know, it doesn't happen like that perfectly. But at least she's in there enough caring. There are a lot of teachers in there who are just taking the bullshit from these children. Let them talk back. Let them act assholes. And just sit in the corner and say, y'all do what y'all want over there. I ain't gonna say nothing. What about those teachers? There's a lot of those teachers who are just frustrated and too afraid to say anything and just let your kids be in there acting their ass, fighting, not doing schoolwork. And then you wonder why your kids ain't doing well and stuff because they don't want to go against your kids or say something because they're going to run home and tell you. You come back and say, why did you raise my kid? Man, it is getting out of hand. It needs to be a stronger hand, needs to be in those schools to control these kids. Actually, it needs to start from home. But since it seems like it doesn't, I remember one time a situation happened. This is a true story. I was dating this girl who was a teacher. She told me that one time one of her kids was always ruly, so she called the mother up and she said, hey, your child is being ruly, disruptive in my class every day. You know what that mother said? He's your child between 8 and 4. What? He's your child. You deal with it between 8 and 4. Ain't that about a bitch? And there's a lot of parents who are like that. And these teachers are getting frustrated. They're getting tired of it. And they're trying to educate the other kids. You got a couple of them acting like knuckleheads. And again, she went about it wrong, but what can you do when you're frustrated? You don't have to say sometimes. So at least she has enough passion to speak up and say something. So I got love for her for that. So Miss Robinson, I give you applause, Miss Robinson.
Right. Now, like I said, there are a lot of people that are sounding off on this, both on, both sides of the fence. One user says, we have become a people and a culture that accepts everything that's not positive. She's not wrong at all. Teaching young boys to grow into young men is extremely important, just as it is to teach girls to grow into young women. We scream Black excellence until it's required for us to be excellent. It doesn't happen overnight. It has a large environmental influence. So, Pierre, I'll start with you. One of the things that she talks about is the importance of having, a man around and just what she's seeing from Black women specifically who are raising these young boys. So let me ask you, do you think it hurts our sons, if they're picking up their mother's traits, from being in a home of just a mother and no male?
Oh, you really asked me that question? Oh, you really asked me that damn question? Hell yeah. Of course it does. These men, if they can't deal with the mamas, that's fine, but deal with your children. At least try to get some productive citizens, or you'll be visiting them in the grave or in jail, all right? Or they'll be a bum all their lives if you're not in their lives somewhat, or try at least attempt to be in their lives. Like I said, women aren't really built to raise these boys. You know what I'm saying? I just feel that way. At least not by themselves, without the father figure around. At least I'll say that much. So kudos to the women who are trying, but don't put the onus and send them to school and be like, you handle it, you take care of that, I can't take care. So sometimes somebody's going to take care of your children a little different than you do. And hopefully it's not the prison system.
Capone, let me ask you that same question. Do you think it hurts our sons? She made it very clear, hey, Black women, when you're raising these sons, please be mindful not to let them pick up your female traits. Do you think it hurts our sons in these homes where we see Black men, growing up in a house full of women and picking up their mother's traits?
I definitely see that happening. I think even myself as a Black man, just trying to be a real strong figure in my son's life. Sometimes I get into an argument with his mother about, how she does things. And as a man, sometimes you just don't want to keep dealing with the unnecessary back and forth. You telling me how to raise my child as a man, or I'm not a fit father because we're not on the same page with each other. And I think that a lot of brothers go through that. And there's a lot of frustration with brothers that go through that, where we just want to be fathers to our children. We didn't make it as good boyfriends, but you hold that against us and you use the child against us. And that goes on, and it's been going on for a very long time now.
Let me ask a question, Capone. And I'm putting you on the defense, but I'm gonna ask you a question. Before you lay down with these women, do you all have any idea of how children raise it? Because when you put your thing in that thing, things happen. Or
Right.
is discussion of, hey, how do you look at raising kids? This is how I look at raising kids. This is how I was raised. How were you raised as a female? How were you brought up? Before you lay down, because if you don't discuss that, then when you have the baby, then it's be like, well, I don't normally do that. I don't do that either. Well, damn, you didn't know that. You should have, you know what I'm saying? How does that
Right.
work? Do you lay down and talk with you and your baby mama? Cool.
Oh,
Enough to talk about that? Did you talk about it beforehand?
Yeah, of course you do. You get to know a person, and sometimes the upbringing of either person can spark out later. You can hear how a person could be a great mother because her mother wasn't a great mother, or a great father because he never had a father. I never had a father. So I try to be the best that I can be for my kids, but I can't say that I've been the best in relationships, and that affects my relationship with my child because the mother pretty much had a different agenda of maybe we were supposed to be together, we were supposed to be married, but it didn't happen that way. So there's a lot of anger that goes back and forth in these situations to where you're not allowed to be the full capacity of a father because of the anger of the person who has the household of the child.
No, I appreciate you both expanding on that. And I think, just to be honest, I think both of you say, she didn't say it the right way, but obviously this is a conversation within our community that's needed, right? This is something that we've seen over decades and decades. Pierre, let me come back to you. How do we prevent this, right? Because I don't think there's a way to say, hey, every household is going to have a mother and a father. So let's take the example that she used, these sons that are being raised in a household with just a mother. How do we prevent these young men from growing up, a certain way, or, being able to kind of have that balance that's needed in a household if they don't have it?
Well, it's going to be hard to prevent what's already here. The kids are already here. So I'm going to start from today of children who aren't born for the future. I think a couple of things. One is we need to understand each other before we lay down, at least a certain point, at least to a certain extent. We need to know who we're laying down, at least that with how our upbringing and raising are. How do we feel about that before? But I get it. Young lust happens and it's not always thought out. Well, that's what happens when it's young lust. People don't think about it. So I think it should be a little more thought out if you can, and well, you can if you want to, about what kind of person I'm laying down with. Is this the kind of person that was raised right, has the same values I have? Can you talk about it before you lay down? Can you do that? I think that'll help a lot. And then, of course, you can find if you're dealing with a bum-ass dude or a bum-ass female before you lay down with him and stuff. And then a lot of times when people get to know each other a lot better and they have babies, a lot of times it's a better situation. It is what it is. Not saying it's always like that, but it is like it is. So I think laying down with each other and knowing what we think about how upbringing, see how their upbringing is. Do they have a father figure around them? A mother figure? Do they come from a two-parent home? How do they feel about that? And then, maybe we have a better chance of that. That's all I can really say. If you know your partner better, maybe in the future, the child that comes out will be, loved and either by both parents together at the same time, or the same household or separately, but they, the father takes responsibility, comes on and handles his business. That's all I can really, that's my take on it.
Absolutely. Capone, let me get your take on that. What are your thoughts? How do we prevent this, or what are some solutions to situations like this as we move forward?
Well, it's a two-edged sword. One, mothers have to learn to let fathers be fathers when they're trying to be fathers. Two, fathers need to step up and be fathers when they have the opportunity to be fathers. Just because a woman is a certain way and you don't like the way she is doesn't mean that you should turn your back on your child. And on the other hand, women, just because y'all didn't work out and things didn't go the way you might have thought that they planned, you shouldn't make the child suffer for the anger that you have. And this is what keeps going over and over and over again. Somehow somebody has to be the adult, or two people have to learn to become adults and talk this out and see what's beneficial to the child. Just communicate a lot better.
Absolutely. No, I think you both make great points. And also, just to add there, I know there are a lot of programs also specifically for young men. I know here in Atlanta, we have Next Level Boys Academy. That's with a gentleman by the name of Gary. And then also King Randall has the X for Boys. So there are a lot of, schools and programs that are, specific to young men, especially young black men. So there are a lot of resources, and I hope people, take the time to reach out to put their kids in those. Because whether she said it right or wrong, I do think both of you make a great point. It is something that needs to be discussed. So again, as always, I appreciate you both for chiming in on this topic. Before we head out, I do want to know what you have coming up. So Pierre, I'll start with you. What do you have coming up, and how can people follow you?
Woo! First, you can follow me at Comic Pierre, COMICPIERRE. And if you can't spell comic, don't follow me. No, no, but I'm at the DC City Winery this Friday, which is October 21st. 2 shows, my man Tony Woods and Sister Quintella. It's a great show. And also we got an interesting podcast show with D-Lay this week. It is what it is. Check it out if you get a chance. It's on YouTube. Pierre's Panic Room. Check it out.
Absolutely. I've seen the clip, and I'm definitely waiting for that one. So, man, Capone, let me kick it over to you. What do you have coming up, and how can people follow you?
First of all, I want to thank Pierre for stopping through Black Enterprise experience. He came out and he showed love on stage, and I truly appreciate that. But this week I got coming up, I'm going to be at the Polygon doing 2 shows in Brooklyn. And also I will be at the Apollo with Shark Tank, the brother from Shark Tank that ran Fubu.
Damon something?
Yeah, Damon. Yeah, I'll be with him. He has this thing called Entrepreneurs Day. I'll be hosting that. So yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. And how can people follow you?
Follow me, Comedian Tone. Now, you spell comedian with a capital C. If you can't spell it, don't follow me.
As always, I appreciate y'all for chiming in on this topic. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about a teacher being removed after calling out Black women of how they raise their sons? Also, don't forget to vote. And if you need a ride to the polls, call the coalition at the People's Agenda at 877-524-8683. Again, that's 877-524-8683. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Don't forget to put it in the comments.
Put them in the comments.
And I wonder why people say the number twice. You know, you can hit pause and rewind it, right? You know, we do that. It's not like it's live and shit, okay? But it's okay.
What's up? I'm Terrence Sims. For years, you come to us to get the latest news in comedy and for your favorite comedians. Now, you can come to us for even more news in the world of sports, music, and pop culture. We're bringing you some of our classic shows you love, like Unforgotten, the Comedy Hype News Show, and more one-on-one interviews. We're more than just laughs, we're the culture, the leader in truth. And well, your streamer got a little more blacker. Welcome to Hype Plus.